All right, welcome to the 2023 Golden Eagle Awards Ceremony. I'm Dave Odell, and after 14 years of being the athletic director here at Westmont, I've taken on a new role at the college in athletics, and that was precipitated by our move to the NCAA. Yes, you can give a cheer or whatever. That was like a gasp of some sort. While I remain heavily involved on a daily basis with athletics, the guy doing the real heavy lifting now is Robert Ruiz, our new director of athletics. And Coach Ruiz has had an incredible impact already. He's led us through year one of a 3-year transition to the NCAA, and we haven't messed up yet. Well, maybe we have, but we're supposed to mess up. That's what they tell us, that it's good to report violations, even if you don't have them. But you'll get to hear more from Rob tonight as he and Coach Kirsten Moore will be our masters of ceremonies. And so we're looking for that. We're delighted that you've joined us to celebrate our best and brightest student athletes. 29 years ago, can you believe it? Gerd and Pete, 29 years ago. Pete and Gerd Giordano conceived of this event, and it was their vision and generosity that laid the groundwork for that, and they continue to play a vital role in our community and at Westmont College. And so thank you, Pete and Gerd, as usual. This year's Golden Eagle class is truly exceptional. I'm very thankful for the personal relationships I've got to have with many of them. But I think they're extra special in that this group seemed to kind of get outside of their teams and their sport and became leaders on our campus in a time when our campus needed leadership. And in that way, I don't recall a group of Golden Eagles quite like this one. So thank you, Golden Eagles, for all that you've invested in our community. This summer, as our department prepared for the year, there was a strong sense that we needed to focus our theme to cover a really diverse population relative to faith formation. We were sensing overall confusion and frustration from many of our athletes as they face challenges of a secular and growing relativistic culture. We felt overwhelming sense and need to help them establish a true north. And that true north is Jesus Christ. We chose as a verse Matthew 6:33, and that was our theme for the year. But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. We asked our athletes to focus on the word seek. And in our team settings, we asked our athletes big questions like, are you seeking first the kingdom of God in your life, in your everyday life? We asked, are you putting Christ on the throne of your life, and what does that look like? Are you seeking truth from Scripture? And then what spiritual practices or disciplines would shape your lives in a way that would have you seek God's kingdom? And that led to what I think was probably our best year from a growth standpoint. This fall, all of our coaches, or many of our coaches, shared in a weekly book study that would help us better interact with our athletes who are seeking the Christian faith for the first time, and some that were just skeptical about their faith. And in the spring, we started a program called Warrior Talks, and we had 25 athletes meeting weekly to hear a testimony from a coach and to learn the difference between a Christian worldview and a secular worldview. We've already seen some great fruit from those conversations, and that has been the highlight of my year at Westmont. As we approach the end of another school year, I can say without a doubt that our athletes continue to flourish both on and off the field or court or whatever. 3 GSAC championships and counting, 6 of the 7 teams that have finished their seasons qualified for national championships. We are sitting atop the GSAC All Sports Award for the 10th straight year. And we are also in the top 10 in the NAIA Directors Cup. Another truly remarkable year in athletics. So now I'd like you to bow your heads, and I'd like to say a prayer for our time together this evening. Lord, thank you for the student athletes that have chosen to attend Westmont and become part of this community. Thank you for the amazing coaching staff that you've assembled to serve, lead, and disciple those student athletes. Thank you for the larger community of Westmont College, the faculty, the staff, the executive leadership, President Gail Beebe, and how they've all embraced the role of athletics on our campus and in the lives of our students. Lord, thank you for the work you are doing daily through these efforts. Bless our evening of fellowship, bless our food, bless our celebration for what you have done through Westmont College. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, you can start eating, and in a few minutes, our Masters of Ceremonies will come forward to start the program, but enjoy your time mingling and the good food. Thank you.
All right, if I could get your attention, I know that most tables have finished up their salads, and our servers will be bringing out the main courses, but because we have such amazing speakers and many of them to honor tonight, we're going to start our program, and we are going to push right through as servers come to the tables and things like that, and just get the program going. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kirsten Moore. I am our women's basketball coach. I think that's how most people know me, but I also serve as the Associate Athletic Director. And as Dave mentioned, really tonight we get the opportunity to honor the top echelon of student athletes here at Westmont. For me personally, this is always a time of the year when I feel exhausted. I've just been traveling a bunch and so many things, and as hard as it is to kind of pull myself together and get ready for this event, I'm always so grateful by the end of the night because it really just rejuvenates my spirit about why we do what we do, and that all the extra work and time and commitment that we all put into this, from student athletes to coaches to staff to executive team to all the people that make this happen, that it is worth it. And tonight reminds us of that. And so I am grateful and looking forward to hearing from our award winners. Award winners, I want to take a minute to just recognize you. So it is never easy to be a student athlete at Westmont. I think it's part of our ethos that we want to create a atmosphere where we are pushing our student athletes outside of their comfort zone, both in the classroom as well as physically and spiritually challenging them to think deeper in all these different ways. And so it's part of how we inspire growth in our student athletes. But on top of that, which kind of is always the situation at Westmont, the majority of our award winners in this room tonight are upperclassmen, which means that your time at Westmont has been filled with an added dose of adversity. We think about COVID and remote learning and isolated training and athletic shutdowns and games canceled and seasons canceled and COVID testing, and I could go on and on and on about all the things. Without a doubt, you all have endured exponentially more adversity than an average college career. We, as your administrators, coaches, professors, have been stretched right alongside you to problem solve, innovate, and maintain a fierce resolve towards our mission, which is to cultivate maturity of mind, body, and spirit through the rigorous pursuit of athletic excellence, integrated learning, and Christ-centered leadership. James challenges us to, quote, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." Golden Eagle Award winners, you are being honored today because you've chosen to let perseverance work in you through the hard, to grow in mind, body, and spirit. We're all works in progress, and none of us have a linear journey towards completeness. But today we get to consider with joy the progress you incredible student athletes have made because of the resilience and grit you've shown to thrive even through the hard. Thanks for being willing to share a small piece of your story with us tonight, because your stories inspire us and make us all better. It's a reminder to all of us to keep fighting the good fight of faith as we grow more and more into who God created us to be. I mentioned the kind of exponential things that we've had to navigate on this journey, and none of that would happen without incredible leadership. We have almost our entire executive team here this evening, and so E-Team, Reed Shear, Doug Jones, Kim Danu, Edie Schultze, Irene Neller, and obviously President Beebe, would you stand up so we can just say thank you for your leadership through this incredibly difficult time? So kind of the flow of tonight is that I get to tag team with our new full-time athletic director. So Robert and I are going to tag team introducing our coaches. And we will introduce our coach, who will then come up and introduce their Golden Eagle Award winner from their sport. And then award winners, you get to share a piece of your story with us, and we're grateful for that. So we are going to kick it off with a bang. Cross country starts with a bang. Let's get our cross country girls up here. So Lindsay Connolly is going to introduce us to our women's cross country winner. After graduating from Westmont in 2007, where she was an All-American for us, then got a master's degree in coaching and athletic administration, Lindsay has continued to be a warrior as a coach. She's also the co-owner of Destined for Grace thrift stores, which support an elementary school in Haiti that she and a friend opened together. That initiative is changing lives, so please bring all your donations to her stores. Lindsay, thanks for your leadership you've given our student athletes for so many years, and for the strong, incredible role model you are to our student athletes.
Thank you for having us here tonight. Resolve, grit, fortitude, these are all common and welcome terms in athletics. And Madden Hunley, our cross-country award recipient, has all of these qualities. For example, her sophomore year, she earned All-American honors in both cross-country and track, both in one season. COVID is one of those things that challenged many of these athletes, and because of COVID, our cross-country nationals was pushed to the spring that year. And I know for many of you, track, cross-country, it's all just running. But for those who compete in it, they are very different. And it was pretty amazing to see her transition from track to cross country and back to track, and just excel and perform at the top of the nation in both of those. It's fun to see her when she's determined, and when she sets out to accomplish her goals, pretty much anything can happen. It's a pleasure to coach her because along with all of these competitive attributes that she has, she also has a balanced perspective. She's determined when she's focused on accomplishing her goals, yet when the race is over, she can look at the outcomes with consideration to her circumstances and where she's at. She has the ability to process her performance to help inform future competitions. Her perspective has helped her make difficult decisions, like choosing not to run at a national championship, because it was best for a long-term injury that she was dealing with, and it was also best for the team as a whole. She's now grateful for the hard workouts, the challenging and fast races that she faces week to week. She's been a trusted resource for me, just giving me insight into the women's team, when to challenge and push them, when to kind of let up and make things more relaxed and lighthearted. She understands how athletics can be a positive part of her learning experience in college and has been making the most of it by enjoying the process. The easy days and the hard days, the disappointments and the successes, all have helped inform her on how things are going, but over the past 4 years, she has learned that they do not define her. It's been a pleasure to watch her learn who she is and who she is becoming. So without further ado, Madden Hunley.
All right, thanks Coach C for your words. Recently, I have been coming across this idea of the secret place, our own personal meeting place with God. It's sacred space, often found in stillness or silence, where His presence is so real you could almost touch it. It's in these quiet moments with God that our souls are laid bare. There's no hiding there, no need to perform or fake it. The beginning of a race is awfully similar. Hundreds of eyes are on you as you toe the line. The whole crowd goes silent when the gun is raised, and for what feels like eternity, you stand there, ready to race until the gun goes off. It's in these moments in God's presence, and moments at the beginning of a race, where we have a choice to make. Press in or disengage. When we press into the vulnerability of these moments, we come against the fear of being exposed. We are free from the need to perform or prove. We choose to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. And in exchange, we grow in our understanding of God's character or in our competitiveness. Henri Nouwen often refers to the secret place or solitude as the furnace of transformation. When we disengage, we let fear and pride have the last say. We turn our backs on God's gracious invitation and we let go of courage. Essentially, we miss out on transformation. As athletes, we have the unique opportunity to practice what it looks like to show up unafraid, to choose to press in time and time again, regardless of past failures or future pressures. We are always placing ourselves in a vulnerable position. Most of us practice uncomfortability for fun. This kind of practice should prepare us for a relationship with God. We have been conditioned to press in, and my hope is that we never let that fade in our pursuit of relationship with Him. At Westmont, I have been marked by those people who have challenged me to press in. Some are in this room, and some are not, but I want to take the time to thank those who are. My coaches, Coach Smelly and Coach Connolly, for helping me to run without fear and to run in freedom. Dave Odell for believing in my leadership and calling it out. Dr. Spencer and Janet Spencer for teaching me the love and joy of learning. And the members of the executive team who are here, even though I don't connect with you often. Reed Sheard, thank you for just taking the time to listen to me. And Gail Beebe and the rest of you who are present. If it wasn't for your commitment to the mission of Westmont, I wouldn't be the athlete, scholar, or Jesus follower that I am. My grandparents, Richard and Priscilla, are also in this room. And I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge the role that they've played in my discipleship. In Luke 18, Jesus tells his disciples a parable to remind them that they should always pray and never give up. Thankfully, I never had to read that parable because they showed me what it looks like to pray and never give up. Mimi and Papa, thank you for the way you guys have loved me and challenged me to press into God's grace. I love you.
Madden, thank you for kicking us off, and that was fantastic. As Kirsten mentioned, I am Robert Ruiz, the new athletic director here at Westmont, formerly the head baseball coach for the last 13 years. And I'd just like to start by saying how grateful and appreciative I am to serve the college in this new role and to have the chance to work with all of our coaches, programs, and the opportunity to work with the student athletes that you're going to hear from tonight. It's truly an honor and a gift, and I'm grateful. At this time, I'd like to ask men's cross country and Coach Russell Smelly to start making their way up to the front. Well, I could go on and on about the accolades and statistics that my good friend Russell Smelly has put together over the 4+ decades he has spent at the helm of our cross country and track programs. He has been very clear that tonight is not about statistics. Russell is a Hall of Fame coach and has literally run out of room for all of his trophies. But more importantly, he is a profound leader and mentor. I have most appreciated reading his coaching philosophy, sitting with him over coffee to discuss the best ways to serve our students, and getting to witness his commitment to Christ drive the way he serves his program and our community. Join me in welcoming Coach Russell Smelly.
Well, it's nice to be here again and to talk about cross country and John Baker. And Robert, thank you for those kind words and for your leadership and friendship. John Baker could easily be getting this award for track and field as well, but when he was a junior, I said, John, I think you should just run the 800 this year and just stick with the speed work. He said, I need cross country, I'm running it. Now, our first big conversation we had in my office after I'd watched him run for a while, I said, John, you need to relax in order to run better. He looked right at me and says, my family does not do that. So he proceeded to go ahead and practice a little more relaxed running, and he became a better runner. And though he's not the exceptional runner, he's a determined runner. And one of the proudest moments I've ever had in my coaching was 2 years ago at the national championships in the 4x800, when he ran the second leg of the race, and our team was doing well points-wise, but he had to get the baton in a good place for our last two runners to bring it home and try to win the race. With 200 to go, John was running as hard as he could, and he got left, just left by faster runners. And he ran a PR, a personal record, a personal best. He got the baton there. This is one of the best moments I've ever witnessed. He never gave in, he just kept coming. And the guys got second, and ultimately, because of his effort and several others, they finished fourth in the national championships as a team. It was brilliant. It was wonderful. It was exactly what you want to see for a young man who wants to be a doctor. And so, if I'm ever in trouble, if my life hangs in the balance, I want John Baker there because he will not quit. He will not give up. He will not let me die. John, you're on.
Let me get my speech open here. Okay. First off, I want to thank my coach, Russell Smelly, for the nomination of this award, and it is truly an honor, and I am genuinely grateful to receive it. Furthermore, I would like to thank Mr. and Mrs. Peter Giordano and the Pacific Beverage Company for sponsoring this dinner, and along with the Hilton for hosting it. If you ask my teammates and coach about me, you will likely hear something along the lines of me being stressed and I need to relax, as you just did, but that I am a good student. And to give you an idea of what this looked like, sometime during my sophomore year, I came to practice in a good mood and my coach exclaimed, John, it's nice to see you smile. It's brought up in almost every conversation about me without fail. And even though I am still stressed from time to time, I have a very robust support system. And I often say I have one of the greatest support systems out of anybody that I've ever met. And I am incredibly lucky. And to that, I want to give a special shout out to my parents for being a huge part of that. And I love you both very much. Being a student athlete, as everybody has said, is not easy, but it has been incredibly worth it. I have learned many valuable lessons and skills, such as time management, how to take care of myself, and how to really be tenacious. And through this, I've also fostered deep relationships with my teammates and coaches. And to me, that has been the most rewarding part, and I will carry that for the rest of my life. As my time at Westmont comes to a close, I am greatly appreciative of those bonds that I have formed with my teammates and coaches, and I only have the Lord to thank for that. Through these relationships, I have learned the importance of being vulnerable and how I shouldn't be afraid to share how I am feeling. Further, this program has taught me that my worth is not based off my grades and times. And while it is important to always do my best, it does not constitute who I am as an individual. And I think that I am finally beginning to understand that after 4 years of Coach Smelly drilling it into my head before, during, and after every practice. So under his guidance, I have developed into a capacity to be a person to care for others and myself simultaneously, even when I am not feeling at my best. And that is perhaps the most valuable lesson that I will be taking from Westmont as I graduate. Thank you.
All right, men's tennis. Coach Beisch. Start making your way up here. Awesome. So Mark Basham has been an incredible gift to our Westmont community. He's led our men's tennis program and mentored his young men for nearly a decade and a half. And what some of you know in this room and some of you don't know in this room is that Mark is retiring at the end of this season. He has always led with an incredible mix of competitiveness that led him as a player to 2 national championships at UCLA and appearances in like Wimbledon and the US Open, all these places that a tennis fan like me thinks is just unbelievable. But he's always combined that with such a pure and caring heart for the things that matter most in life, people and faith. His heart is bigger than his accomplishments, and his pure and genuine love for his young men has been at the foundation of everything he's done as a coach. Mark, I'm excited for you to introduce your award winner, but before you do, we wanted to take this opportunity to publicly thank you for all you've given to our Westmont community in your coaching career. We have got a nice gift for you to be able to enjoy a really nice evening out with your wife. And we're also going to make sure that you get a lifetime pass to keep coming back to all of our games so the students don't bug you at the door about where your ticket is, that you can just always come in because you're always going to be a part of our Warrior family. And before he introduces his award winner, can we all please stand and give a huge thank you to Mark Basham.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate that. And I'm blessed and honored to be here, and I want to thank, well, first of all, Kirsten. You know, I was thinking about Kirsten earlier today, and she's not only one of the most amazing coaches around anywhere, she's an amazing MC, and she's just an incredible person. And we were blessed to have her at our tennis match the other day. It was a gift to have her over there and her enthusiasm and passion. And so thank you so much. And I want to thank Dave Odell for hiring me 14 years ago, and for all his trust, and for Alex Nazay, a great buddy of mine, who was the one that kind of encouraged me to think about this great job of coaching. And I hadn't done it before Westmont. And so anyway, the last thing I'll say is just my greatest time in tennis all these years has for sure, no doubt, been coaching at Westmont. The highs of coaching, the mentoring of people like Benny and all that. So I just want to thank you all for that. And thank you, Rob Ruiz. Love having you as a new AD, and Dave's support and right there with you. What a great team. We're very blessed. So thank you. Moving on to Benny Saito. I'm going to go ahead and read it just so I can be more articulate. Well, the phrase, the third time is the charm, really applies to Benny Saito this year for the Golden Eagle. 2 years ago, Benny received the Golden Eagle for the first time, which was remote that time due to COVID. Last year, I could not present Benny this award because I tested positive for COVID the day of the dinner last year, which was a bummer for me. But this year, Benny is a senior. He's ready to graduate. He's pre-med kinesiology major with about a 3.9 GPA, which is outstanding. And he likely wants to be a pediatrician, which I couldn't think of a better person to be doing that. But anyway, and Benny came off just an amazing match against Gustavus Adolphus yesterday, where he won the key point for us in the doubles, and then moved into the singles matches at number 6 singles. He started the trend for us of winning. He was the first one done on his court, and I was so proud of him, just his poise and enthusiasm and just setting the tone for his teammates, winning on down the line after that. So it was great to see Benny. It was such a fitting time just to see him play some of his best tennis at that point. Without question, Benny checks all the boxes for being a Golden Eagle recipient, and that is why he's getting this honor for the third time. Benny, like I said, has carried a 3.9 or higher GPA his entire time at Westmont. He's been a captain of our team for the past 3 seasons. He was our team fitness leader, without a question of a doubt, this year. He is a young man whose character is as high or higher than any player that I've coached in my 14 seasons. And most of all, Benny is an individual with a deep faith that is evident to me and his teammates every day, because Benny is without a doubt the spiritual spark plug of our team. Benny is a dependable, consistent, positive, and caring person that I've had the honor and pleasure to coach all 4 of his years at Westmont. Even though Benny is one of the most improved players on this year's team, this pales in comparison to all that he brings as a wonderful teammate, a man of character, and a spiritual leader to our team. I'm usually not much of a crier, but I've become a little bit more of this tendency in the last year or so. Lastly, last paragraph, I want to acknowledge Benny's parents, Nathan and Katie, who are here tonight, and congratulate them on their amazing guidance of Benny and for their support of me and our team the last 4 years. Nathan and Katie have helped guide and produce a wonderful young man in Benny who wants to go to medical school and eventually become a pediatrician, and I cannot think of anyone better and more suited for this profession than Benny. A huge congratulations to you, Benny, from the bottom of my heart. I am so thankful and honored to give you the prestigious Golden Eagle Award for the 3rd time. But now, best of all, I'm glad I'm here in person to be able to do that this year. All right, thank you all.
Thank you, Coach. Tonight, I want to share a lesson that I've learned from being a mediocre tennis player in a senior captain role. This season, I dreamt of spectacular performances, of maximizing my potential, and feeling satisfied with my career once I was done. I believed that by achieving greatness, I would finally become a great leader. But there's a disconnect between my aspirations and the ups and downs of reality. The disconnect made me believe that I couldn't be a good leader if and when I didn't achieve my dreams or didn't believe I became all that I could be. Luckily, I stumbled upon the reflections of Henry Nouwen, and he told me that a true leader does not seek power, relevancy, or the spectacular, and they are not obsessed with their success or upward mobility. Rather, they are self-sacrificing, eager to serve, pouring out love that they receive from Christ, who is the ultimate and perfect example of what it means to be a servant leader. As I reflect on how I can learn how to live this way, I'm inspired by everybody in this room. Yes, in Westmont athletics, there are people who are spectacular. There are people who are powerful and relevant to society today. But I think more importantly, this room is filled with servant leaders. I want to encourage you and to thank you, everybody here and anybody who couldn't make it, that your commitment, investment, and sacrifice for the flourishing of us athletes and for our community is more than valuable. 3 people here tonight embody this the most to me. Coach Basham, thank you for being an example of humility, kindness, and passion in your leadership. Westmont has been blessed to have you for a coach for 14 years, and I've personally been blessed to have you as a coach and a mentor. And my mom and dad, thank you for your leadership in my life, in our family, in our community. You've had every opportunity to choose power, success, and relevance, but instead you continually choose to humbly serve those around you. And Yoshi and I are incredibly blessed to have you as parents and as role models of what it means to be a servant leader. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Benny. Next up, Coach McGulpin and women's volleyball. If you can make your way up to the front.
Right here, Robert.
Oh, you. It's bright light in here. All right. Coach Ruth McGulpin completed her 4th year as head coach of our volleyball team and has led her teams to a 90-28 record over that time and 4 national championship appearances. Pretty outstanding. I said we won't talk too much about stats, but that's pretty impressive. Coach McGulpin is one of the most organized coaches in our program. More importantly, she's passionate about her players and their growth as students, athletes, people, and followers of Christ. Coach McGulpin is a dedicated coach who leads with both her heart and her mind. Ruth, we are grateful that you are a part of our coaching community. Please come up and present your Golden Eagle recipient.
Thank you, Robert. Phoebe Minch is a quiet and humble player who commands attention in her style of play. She has such a desire and work ethic to be the best version of herself. Each of these last 3 years, she has continued to grow in her faith, in her ability to contribute to the team, and to provide leadership in the needed moments on and off the floor. She is coachable, godly, and is going to be missed once she graduates next year. Phoebe sets the standards for what it means to be a good team player. She is supportive, hardworking, and responsible. She is also one of the most well-rounded and talented players that will come out of Westmont College volleyball in the 9 years that I have been a part of the program. I was assistant prior to the head coach. This year, we will look for her to be the triple threat, amazing on offense, on defense, and as a leader. She has been a member of the All-GSAC team 2 years in a row, and this year was awarded Honorable All-American honors. In addition to her success on the court, Phoebe is an incredible student with a cumulative GPA 3.88, majoring in kinesiology. She is a 3-time All-Scholar athlete and has been a member on the Dean's List. Phoebe truly is a gift to our program, to her teammates, and to me as the head coach. Thank you for the ways that you contributed to the success of this program. Your sacrifice and investment of time and talent have made us better. We are fortunate to have you for one more season, and I cannot wait to see what God has in store for our team and for you in the season ahead. Phoebe, congratulations on earning the Golden Eagle Award for Westmont College Volleyball.
Thank you, Ruth. It's such an honor to be receiving this award tonight. And first of all, I would like to thank my parents who are sitting over here for being my biggest support throughout my whole life and for shaping me into the woman I am today. I would not be here without them. I would also like to thank Coach Ruth and our other coaches who couldn't be here tonight for all the time and effort that they have put into making this program what it is today, and for giving me the amazing opportunity to play volleyball here at Westmont. When I was deciding where I was going to go to school, I had this gut feeling that Westmont was the place I needed to be. Despite a bit of a rough start, having my freshman year entirely restricted by COVID, I wouldn't trade my experiences the past 3 years for anything. This past year especially has shown me why Westmont is such a special place, and the culture specifically on our team is not something I would have found at any other school or in any other program. This past season renewed my love for the sport of volleyball, but it's also taught me that it's so much more than just a game. It has built so much character in me and created a family for me. The girls on the team and the coaching staff this year were all so united and selfless in supporting one another. It was truly unlike any team I had been a part of before. In preparation for every match, we would recite Joshua 1:3-5, which says, "Wherever you step foot, you will be on land I have given you. No one will be able to stand against you as long as you live, for I will be with you. I will not fail you or abandon you." This verse reminded us that no challenge or opponent that we faced was ever too big or too strong for us, and that if we continue to rely on God and each other in all circumstances, we can achieve big things. We went into every game with the mindset that wherever we were playing, it was our land, which I think contributed a lot to our confidence and success this season. I personally, throughout my life, have been focused on the verse 1 Corinthians 10:31, which says, "Whatever you eat or drink, or whatever you do, do it all for the glory of God." This is a constant reminder for me to not be so caught up in all the awards or my personal performance to receive glory and praise for myself, but it has helped me learn to be humble in the face of great accomplishment and recognize that the greatest achievement I can accomplish is to emanate Christ in all I do. Besides playing volleyball here, I am grateful for all the other opportunities that I've had at Westmont. I've been able to study abroad in the UK with Dr. Afman, which has definitely been a highlight of my life so far. I've been able to grow in my faith tremendously and been a part of this team that has turned into my second family. It hasn't been easy these past 3 years, but I'm blessed to have gone through it all and come out a better and stronger person because of it. I can't wait for next year and all the new challenges it will bring, but honestly, I'm just excited to show these D2 teams what Westmont is made of. Thank you.
Love that competitive spirit right there. Bring it on. Women's soccer, it is your time to shine. That's right. Coach Jenny Jaggard led her team to an incredible undefeated season until they made it all the way to the final site at the national tournament. Watching her team compete brought us all so much joy because of the incredible teamwork and excellence that they displayed on such a consistent basis. She's deeply competitive on the pitch, but more than that, I'm so appreciative of her analytic mind combined with her deep love for Jesus. That shows itself in the way she cares for her players' hearts and as she desires to help them grow in their faith. I'm grateful that this love for her players is truly at the core of what motivates her as a coach.
Thank you, Kirsten. This past week, I've been reflecting on the words of Jesus. He says, "You will know a tree by its fruit." God cares deeply about the fruit that we produce in our lives. What we do, what we say, it matters in terms of how we give him glory. And as Christians, we want to do everything to the very best of our ability with excellence in order to give him glory for the gifts and blessings that he has given us. And Reese Davidson, this year's Golden Eagle recipient for women's soccer, I feel really truly embodies this continual striving for excellence to give God glory in her life. As I've reflected back on the last 4 years of Reese's career, the growth journey that she's had has been quite remarkable. While stats never tell the full story of who an athlete is and all the contributions that they make, I do think that it is a tangible way of assessing progress year by year. And so I just want to share a few things from like the bookends of Reese's journey, starting with her freshman year to her senior year. In her freshman year, Reese scored 4 goals and 1 assist. In contrast, in her senior year, she scored 18 goals and 2 assists and was recognized as a GSAC Women's Soccer Player of the Year and an NAIA All-American honorable mention. She also set a record as the first player in Westmont history to score 3 hat tricks in 1 season, which is a huge deal. Pretty exciting stuff. This massive growth in her performance from her freshman year to her senior year, in my opinion, is a reflection of who Reese is as a person. As Jesus says, you will know a tree by their fruit. Reese is one of the most dedicated and hardworking people I've ever had the privilege of coaching. She's also humble and embodies what it means to be a great teammate and a servant leader. As a team captain, she's poured her heart, mind, and soul into her teammates and into her education. Academically, Reese received the prestigious academic All-American Women's Soccer NAIA First Team selection. That's quite a mouthful, which only 11 players in the country receive each year, so it's a very big deal. Reese graduated with a degree in mathematics with a 3.93 GPA, so pretty impressive accomplishment. She's also served our athletic department as a SAC member. Just whether Reese is on the field firing her teammates up, in the center circle before a game, or my memories of her, just her encouragement for players who were discouraged, injured, the way that you would make books with encouraging quotes for them. She just went above and beyond to make each teammate feel like they were a part of this program and that they mattered. And that's really the sign of a good leader. There's so many different things that I could say about Reese. Another one that I really admire, which we'll kind of talk about more just in terms of her spiritual leadership, is how she always led our program. After every home game, she would talk to the coach and the team of our opponent and ask them, hey, can we pray for you in the center of this circle, and ask for a blessing for your team and your program and season. And she would lead that for our team. So for me, Reese is a young woman that has vision and purpose that's bigger than herself. She has a very real relationship with Christ, which she has actively shared with all the people in her life. And she lives her life to give God glory in the gifts that he's given her. And she's a woman with both a calling and a character. She leaves our program with a legacy of demonstrating what it means to live by the fruit of the Spirit, to have love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, and goodness, right? And self-control. So these characteristics, in my opinion, are her most important legacy. They're a legacy that lasts, and it's how I'll remember Reese. And I would just like to just, as almost like a benediction to you as you move on in the next chapter of your life, I would just pray to God that he would plant Reese like a tree that's firmly planted beside living streams of water, and that you would just continue to produce fruit in your life in this next season. You're an amazing person, Reese, and I'm really going to miss you.
Well, I'm very honored to be up here with so many other amazing student athletes. I remember my freshman year, one of the main things that I heard going into one of the ceremonies freshmen had to go through before school started was one of the Augustinian students talking about the Westmont community. And so I just want to thank a few people in the Westmont community and talk about how much that's impacted my time here at Westmont. First, thank you so much, Jenny. I got to come in and be a part of her first class that started as freshmen and graduated as seniors, and it was really fun to grow alongside of you. I feel like we both have just grown so much together, and I'm so thankful for that. But to name a few other examples, one of our coaches, Dan Ribbons, he has
led a group of us down to Mexico to build a house. He's brought me out to breakfast, had conversations with me about my faith, helped my roommate and I build a coffee table for our apartment in Ocean View. Just an example of the people that poured into my life, not only on the field or in the classroom, but just he pushed me to be a better person in general. And I'm so thankful for that. My coach Dor invites each of us to be a part of her family, inviting us over for chili dinners and welcoming us into her home. Dr. Howell has spent countless hours with me in office hours, helping me out in the classroom, but also has taken me out to lunch and has poured so much into my spiritual and personal development as well. Dr. Beebe, thank you so much for your handwritten notes and newspaper clippings and inviting me into your office for lunch. It's been a really special part of my 4 years at Westmont. I need to thank my parents who have been at almost every single game, including trips out to Arizona, Oregon, Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. And my roommates who are also here, they are the best teammates ever and just such special humans. I'm so thankful for them. And know that all of these people have just helped form me and impacted me so much to be here today. So I'm so thankful. Thank you.
All right, men's basketball, you don't have to go very far. But also, a Warrior alum is at the helm of our men's basketball program. And I just really appreciate Landon's vision for the development of the men's basketball program and creating a culture that can develop young men in deepening their faith and preparing them to be difference makers upon graduation. In his first years at the helm as a head coach, he's kind of been right on this whole timeline with all of you and dealing with all of the adversity between COVID and injuries in on his team. But I'm grateful for the problem-solving mentality that Landon has, and his team's run down the stretch of this last season when their backs were against the wall to make it to the national tournament really shows his resolve is rubbing off on his players in such a good way, and I appreciate that, Landon.
Thank you. It's my honor tonight to introduce the men's basketball award winner, Drew Ramirez. Drew started at Concordia Irvine, and his freshman year, it was the COVID year, so that didn't count as eligibility. And then he took last year off athletically, but stayed in school. And so then he came to us. And so he's a junior academically, but a freshman, considered a freshman on the court. He certainly did not feel like a freshman this year at all. He started every game for us, but it's because he's not a freshman. But it's really refreshing to have a player with so much eligibility in front of him and feel like a leader of the team. And in my opinion, one of the main things that we loved about our team this year is how we just got along and we loved each other, and it was a true brotherhood. I think oftentimes they say 1, 2, 3 family, and it's just kind of what you do. But our team, I really feel like they did do that. And having 9 new guys out of 14, that's really, really tough to do. And I credit that a lot to Drew, because when he first signed to us, he would drive up every day in the spring. He was our first recruit to sign last year. And so I just felt like he was so 2 feet in. And showing that, he would drive up from Ventura Monday through Friday, every day in the spring after our season ended, to obviously get better and train with us. But more importantly, I felt like you were trying to get the guys together as a family and to start that. When the spring was over, he moved on campus, and he lived on campus, and he made Westmont his home before it was officially his home in the fall. And so during that time in the summer, we would keep signing guys, and he would bring in the new guys that just signed, and he would form them into the returners and kind of add them in. So it almost felt like he was a returner, but really he was one of 9 new guys. And I credit a lot of that familyness to what he did. And when our season was dark, like Kirsten said, backs against the wall is one way to put it, but it was not pretty. And we rallied off the last 5 games of the GSAC, 5 in a row, to make the national tourney. And I also credit a lot of that to Drew, because he has this mentality that he'll never be different. He's just the same every day, and he works so hard. But also, you're playing the best basketball of the whole year at the end of the year, which is great momentum going into next year. And so I'll tell you this, what makes this guy special is that he's a very hard worker. And I know that that sounds kind of boring, that may be plain, but that's what it is. And I've coached a lot of players, and I've played with a lot of players, and I can't think of one player who has a motor quite like Drew. And that's what separates him as a teammate, that's what separates him as a basketball player in the classroom, and who he is as a person. So, Drew, I hope that you're proud about this, earning this award, because you did earn it. But my hope and prayer for you is that you take this season and you take this award and use it as motivation and momentum going into next year. Congrats, man. Here's Drew.
I'm Drew Ramirez, for those that don't know me. Being close to home has been a very big part of my journey. Family's been important, and I'm just blessed to be able to have them all here today, some of my family here today. And I want to thank the Westmont community for allowing to have a platform for student athletes that excel in their sport and in the classroom, so thank you guys for that. And I also want to thank my coaches, the ones that aren't here as well, Coach Erickson, Coach Jelani, Coach Goodrow, Coach Nate. They put countless hours in with me, and for just trusting and believing me, and also picking me as a representative for the basketball program. I really appreciate that from them. And I kind of want to start off with my my connection to Westmont. It started when I was about 8 years old. My dad coaching basketball and sending his high school team to the basketball summer camp. And 8 years old, hey, you wanna go in the van? You wanna come with the guys? I got my bag ready, went in the van, got up there, eating the DC food, watching the games, staying in the dorms. That's where it started. Freshman year, I'm at St. Bonaventure. We're able to play in the tournament. So I'm living what I lived at 8 years old, but now I'm on the court. Same thing, senior year, that connection. Westmont. I did not end up at Westmont right out of high school, but when I decided to transfer, I knew it was home. And that's why I feel welcome. That's why I feel like this is a special place. And one goal that I had for myself, as Coach said, is, yeah, it's my first year here, but I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to get guys together, and I also wanted to build a community. The athletes here, starting off with the athletic meeting, all teams come together. Yeah, that's for creation of relationships within the team, but also as a department. So building that right there, and then this second semester having that athletes chapel, growing in my faith, I really appreciate that. Asking questions, getting familiar, and just trusting in Him, trusting in God to get closer. And I'm very blessed to be honored to be here, and thank you so much.
All right, before I bring our next coach and athlete up, I just want to reflect on one of the unique things that I've been able to enjoy in this transition for me professionally. I'm often asked on campus, do you miss coaching? What's different? What's new in the new role? And I would say that one of the greatest gifts that I've been given in this new role is the opportunity to work with others across our campus just much more frequently. I've spent time with our faculty and staff, with several committees, and just been able to dive into the Westmont community even more. Just now completing my 14th year here at Westmont, I feel like I hear this every year. But the longer I'm here, the more it's confirmed that our most valuable commodity at Westmont are the people. There's so many people here today that have made the experience of these student athletes and what they've talked about possible. The first part of the phrase student athlete would not happen with excellence if it were not for the incredible faculty that teach, challenge, and mentor our student athletes. Would all the faculty that are here with us tonight please stand so that we can thank you for the vital role that you play in this life-shaping process? You were invited here because you have made a personal difference in these students' lives. So thanks to you, faculty, for all you have done. As we hear about the journeys these student athletes have been on at Westmont, we want you to know how much we value your partnership in the life-changing work that we all are here to do. So thank you. Men's soccer, Coach Morgan, Kathy, would you guys make your way up to the front? Men's soccer and our newest coach on the staff, Morgan Cathy, is the second head coach that I was able to hire in my first year as AD. Morgan joined our department as the most recent addition in February of 2023, taking over the program after a magnificent 32-year run by my good friend Dave Wolf, who's here with us tonight. Dave, thanks for all that you've done for our men's soccer program. Morgan joins Westmont Soccer after previous head coaching stops at Cal State Stanislaus and Whitworth University. He is truly one of the most enthusiastically welcoming people I have ever met. I'll say that again, because that's a lot, but it totally describes him. Morgan is one of the most enthusiastically welcoming people I have ever met. He has a passion for soccer and ministry, and it is evident in every opportunity you get to be with him. I could not be more excited about what he and his family will bring to the Westmont soccer program and community. Morgan, we're grateful that we have you here. Come on and share about your Golden Eagle.
They often say when asking a college coach, what does success look like? And the answer will be, well, I can't tell you now, but in 40 years, when we see the fruit of these young men in life outside of the confines of this time, then we can truly measure the success that they might have. Even though I've only been the men's soccer coach here for days, weeks, and months, and I never had the privilege of getting to coach Michael Palmer, the Golden Eagle recipient tonight, what I can tell you is that as a student athlete, you get to see the measure of your impact in the years following as a leader. I got to come into a program where Michael Palmer, he graduated early this last semester, and the impact that this young man has had on the men's soccer program is immeasurable, So truly honored to get to share about somebody that I have now more recently been able to spend more time with. I guess the relationship with Michael Palmer started out a little bit interesting, almost like an awkward sixth grade dance romance. The men's soccer program was thinking, who makes the move first? They thought, I like you, do you like me? And I don't know who ended up making the move first, but I'm sure glad somebody did. And Michael Palmer was the last committed player in April of his senior year, a local Santa Barbara product. Few knew that at the time Michael Palmer would not only be a four-year contributor on the field, but he would truly be one of the greatest leaders that the program has had over the last few decades. Michael Palmer's impact on the program has been so monumental that as the new soccer coach in the program, it's completely evident that he has touched every corner of the relational landscape within the team, as well as instilling a team culture off the field that most coaches can only dream of. When you fulfill the role of new coach, I'll be the new coach for a long time here. When you're replacing somebody for 32 years, I think 10 years in, I'll still be the new coach at Westmont. And even though Dave Wolf is not, so tall in stature, the shoes are very large to fulfill. And during the hiring process, it was a really unique experience because they invited a group of current soccer players to be a part of the hiring process. And so on my interview, I got to come into this room, and of course I'm looking forward to this because this is my people. This is the guys that I'm excited to meet. And the first one to shake my hand is Michael Palmer. And you can tell, obviously, a strapping young man. And I didn't know who each player was at this point. But my first question was, is this a coach? Who is this guy? And he sat in the background. He had already finished his eligibility. He had already graduated from Westmont, but he was still there, and he was the most engaged individual in that interview. And you could see his deep care for the program. It was really what was the catalyst during his 3.5 years here in the program as far as a leader is concerned. When asked to share about his experience with Michael, Dave Wolf exclaimed, "You will find few young men as gifted as Michael Palmer, and even fewer who will be more anxious to use those gifts in service to others, and most importantly, to the Lord." Along with significant giftedness, Michael is also mature and measured beyond his years. He will be a force for life-giving contributions in whatever spheres he occupies. I asked a current player about why Michael Palmer had such an impact on him, because again, you can see it in every conversation, talking about the culture of our team and how impactful this young man has been in the program. And one current player remarked, "Michael Palmer's the greatest captain I've ever had." And after he said it, he said, "Actually, he's the greatest man I've ever met." And another player more recently, he said, "Michael Palmer is the most relatable person I know. There is a reason that this guy knows everyone, and it's because he's super easy to befriend. And it's not just that he is easy to befriend, he works hard at maintaining relationships. His work ethic is simply one of a kind. He is an incredible detail-oriented person, and most importantly, he is a man of strong faith, who I know is living a life towards God. He is one of my best friends, and he will probably be in my wedding if that day ever comes." Donnie, maybe it might not come. So without further ado, please welcome Michael Palmer.
Well, first, it's an honor to be here with you all today, and I'm humbled to accept the Golden Eagle Scholar Athlete Award on behalf of the men's soccer program. Growing up in Santa Barbara, I always heard that Westmont was a special place, but I did not expect it to have the profound impact that it did on my life. Coming into Westmont, I was excited to play soccer, meet new people, and dive into what the community had to offer. But it wasn't until I showed up at the start of my freshman year to training camp when I was face to face with two captains of the soccer team, Timmy Hajduk and Lalo Delgado. These two guys are absolute studs. They exemplify Westmont men's soccer through and through. To add to their undisputed impact on the field, they excelled in their academics and invested in the Westmont community. I was struck with a realization. These are the type of guys that I get to learn from and strive to be like during my time here. From that moment on, I was challenged and molded by each person I came into contact with. And with that in mind, and the people who built my foundation before joining the Westmont community, my list of thank yous could go on all night, but I want to start by saying thank you to my family for being an amazing support system and instilling morals into my character that I aim to have every day. To my teammates over all 4 years and the bond of brotherhood that was created to last a lifetime. To the coaching staff, Wolfie, Johnny, and Tovi, for believing in me and pushing me to be the best version of myself daily while exemplifying unbeaten leadership and character development. And now Morgan, the new Westmont men's head soccer coach, for carrying on the Westmont soccer legacy and leading the program to the next step. Teachers play a pivotal role in developing each one of us, and I would like to thank Dale Caron for more than who he was as a teacher to me, but for how he invested in me outside of the classroom. Thank you to the Westmont as an institution for giving me a space to try new things, learn, and develop my passions. And lastly, I'd like to thank the Lord for guiding my steps to a community that I needed, which is filled with the people who I want to be like. My experience over the last 4 years has been nothing but transformative. Each year I was challenged and encouraged to learn, to lean into the process of discovering who I was created to be. And it wasn't always smooth sailing, but I'm blessed to say that I'm grateful for each moment and what it taught me. More than anything, this experience at Westmont has motivated me to enter the next season of my life confidently with a goal to make a difference in the lives around me. In reality, this award should not be given to me, but instead to the countless people who have shaped me into the person who I am today. But with that said, I'm humbled by this recognition, and thank you.
All right, this one should be fun. Baseball, come on up. My first assignment after accepting the role of athletic director was to hire my replacement. There's no playbook for this type of assignment, and I learned that quickly. After 13 years as the head baseball coach, I cared most about bringing someone in who would love, care for, and challenge our players. Someone who would continue to emphasize character, integrity, and a commitment to Christ. I stand confidently before you tonight to share that we found the right guy for the job. Tyler LaTorre has stepped in, carried the torch, and continued the momentum in our baseball program. The team has put together quite the season so far, sitting currently at 28-7 overall and in first place in the GSAC. It's my distinct pleasure to introduce you to Tyler LaTorre.
Thank you, Robert. A huge thank you to Robert for allowing me to continue on with his vision, his legacy, but a bigger thank you to him for bringing me into the Westmont family. I've always been excited to go to the baseball field every day. It's my passion, but I'm more excited to show up to work every day with this athletic department. You guys challenge me. I learn constantly every day from everybody that I talk to, and it's truly an honor to be a part of this Westmont community more than any baseball game, win or loss. But this isn't about me, it's about Brady. Last year's team going to the NAIA World Series for the first time in school history is something that will be talked about for years. For me to come in and have 16 seniors that we honored on Saturday at Senior Day was a true honor, and one of those individuals was Brady. After coming off of one of the most historic single season personal years, Brady has done just that this year. He's battled through an injury, but it hasn't stopped him. Baseball is a individual team sport. When we talk as coaches, we talk a lot about, okay, this guy can't beat us. If we're in a situation where we can pitch around a guy, if we can not allow this guy to beat us, that's the guy. And for every team that we've played so far, that's the guy. And for him to excel, even though he's the guy that they don't want to beat them, he's still the guy. And that's a testament to his drive, his competitiveness, his baseball intellect. He is a joy to coach because you don't have to coach him. Let him go out there and play. Let him go out there and be free. Let him go out there and have the freedom to make mistakes and then overcome them and show his teammates what it looks like to battle through an injury but still play with some grit. A funny story away from the field, Brady is not much of words. And when I got to meet him, it was kind of a tough cookie to crack to try to get to know him. The more I've gotten to know him, the more that we are very similar in the way that we think and some of the characteristics that we have together. But we were at practice one day, and I was looking through the field. I think we were doing some type of scrimmage, and I said, "Where's Brady?" And one of our players said, "I think he's meeting with Ron. They're setting up Westmont Athletic, the network, and he calls the basketball games. I said, no, Brady Rank. Where's Brady Rank? And they're like, no, he calls all the basketball games. And I said, I've never heard him say 4 words before. I'm not putting 2 and 2 together. Once I watched the game on TV, I watched it over because I love going to the games. Like I said, I love being on campus. I saw a different person. I heard a different person. And that has continued on through the year as I've gotten to know him. I thoroughly enjoy going to work every day, like I said, but players like this make it better. So without further ado, someone who's very deserving of this award for everything that he's done on the field, but off the field, I think he came to Westmont thinking he was going to get one thing and definitely got more than he bargained for. So congratulations, Brady.
Thank you for the kind words. So it was actually funny enough, for my senior seminar class, I had to write a reflection on what my time at Westmont has been like. And I think when I had to write that, I really sat down and really realized how much of a roller coaster that my college career has been for me. I've grown up around sports pretty much my whole life. My dad has worked in sports my whole life. My brother plays it. And it was literally that's all we did in our house was talk about sports, watch sports. And so I became very dependent on sports ever since a young age. That was kind of my break from reality. Anytime I was having a bad day or anything like that, I always knew that when I went to the field or the court that day, that was going to be my time away from everything. And as much as I loved that, and that's honestly what led me to Westmont, was the baseball. And I was so narrow-minded that I really wanted to play college baseball, and not very many schools took a chance on me. So I credit to Aunt and Ruiz for giving me the opportunity. My sophomore year when I got my license, funny enough, I was 5'2", 112 pounds. So I had no business playing college baseball. I was the tiniest kid. In every sport I played, I was so small, and I was like, there's just no way I'm good enough to play this game. But fortunately, they gave me that opportunity. But with that, I became so dependent on baseball that I left myself vulnerable to a lot of things off the field. And that's ultimately my sophomore year. I experienced one of the hardest years of my life here at Westmont. Just before the season, I was back home for winter break, and I got a really bad case of COVID. That was kind of right during the heart of it. And so it left me out of practice for about 10 days or whatnot. And I had to be the guinea pig for the return to play protocol. And I had to ride the bike for like 45 minutes for 10 days, and I swear they thought I was going to go beat Lance Armstrong in the Tour de France or something after that, because my butt had never been more sore for 2 weeks straight from riding a bike every day. But on top of that, I also I went through a really tough relationship off the field that ended kind of abruptly while I was away from home, and it's just something that really set me back mentally. And so when I went into the season, I was already kind of behind the 8 ball mentally and physically, and I had a lot of high expectations for myself. I started at shortstop my freshman year, and so my sophomore season was supposed to be my big breakthrough year, and unfortunately I fell flat on my face. I started the season about 5 for 50 at the plate, which I don't know if any of you guys play baseball, but some of you in this room could have done that right now. And it was a humbling experience, and I didn't really know how to overcome it. I had always been successful in sports. I never really failed in life, and that was the first time where I really hit rock bottom. And I never told a lot of people, but I tried to quit 2 different times during that year, my sophomore year. I was so down on myself. I was so frustrated with how my life was going, and it was during the heart of COVID where I couldn't leave my room. My classes were on Zoom. I was failing tests left and right, and I felt stuck, and I just felt like I was fading fast. And I vividly remember I had a phone call with my dad, and I was in the car because we couldn't use our locker room because it was COVID. So I was in full uniform. It was pearly white because I didn't get on base that day. And I was just crying my eyes out. And I told him, Dad, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to come home. I need a break. I need to unplug. And he told me no. He said, you can't, we're not going to let you do that. You owe it to your teammates and your coaches who believed in you that you can at least stick it out through the end of the season. And if you still feel that way, you can. And I'll never forget how much confidence Coach Ruiz had in me that year, because he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself, and he willingly wrote my name in the lineup every day. And I'm convinced some of the guys on our team probably thought I had some dirt on you for continuing to write my name in the lineup card every day, knowing I was going to go 0 for 3. But he kept doing it anyway, and I can't be more grateful for the opportunity he gave me. And so when we got back my junior year, we had a leadership retreat, and we got there. And Ruiz showed us a testimony of a former Westmont player who pretty much his story was verbatim for mine. He went through a really tough off-the-field thing. He was struggling. He transferred. He was supposed to be this big baseball prodigy. And that was the moment I realized that Ruiz and our coaching staff particularly really, it felt like a calling to me. It felt like they understood what I was going through. And like Coach Latorre said, I wasn't really a man of many words. I didn't really talk to Ruiz much during that year. I really kept to myself, and that kind of felt like the connection that, okay, he knows what I'm going through, and he has my back in it. And so my first at-bat of the fall, I rolled over to second base, and I jokingly told him, I was like, here we go again. Like, it's the same story. And then my next at-bat, I hit the furthest ball of my life. I hit a home run, and I was like, you know what? This year's got some potential. Like, we got something going. I hadn't hit a home run in a while, and in hindsight, I was right. I had one of the greatest years of my life. My junior year, I got to live in OV with 3 of my best friends, and as Coach Latorre said, I had the greatest single season of my life in any sport. I led us in home runs, stolen bases, and I set the school record for the most runs scored in the season. And by the way, I was on the best Westmont baseball team of all time. I mean, I couldn't have drawn it up any better to bounce back the way that I did, and I'm so grateful for everyone that supported me through it. And I find it no coincidence that it happened to me at Westmont. That kind of felt like my wake-up call that I needed. I was kind of cruising through life. I thought I was the guy at everything, and when I had that failure, it really opened my eyes, and I really learned how to grow as a man and face adversity head on, and to believe in something bigger than myself. And I always felt that, God gave his hardest battles to his toughest soldiers, and I'm super grateful for whatever's to come next for me, and I just thank everyone for the support. I do want to give a shout out to my parents. They're not here tonight, which is honestly a good thing, because we had a senior dinner for baseball last week, and I had to speak, and my mom was just bawling right in front of me the entire time, and I just completely lost it and cried on stage in front of all my teammates, lost all my credibility in the locker room, but it was worth it, and I wish they could have been here tonight, but thank you all so much.
I'm not seeing the man of few words there at all, right? I mean, wow. Oh, that was great. Women's swimming has just finished its first full 4-year cycle of student-athlete development, with our honoree Bailey and her classmates joining Coach Jill Lynn in laying the foundation for a culture of transformation in the swimming program. I deeply appreciate Jill's purity of heart, and she is a perfect fit for what we're about here at Westmont. She prioritizes the character of her athletes and cares about her athletes beyond the pool as she invests in their spiritual development, and is such a role model with how she lives and leads. The pursuit of excellence in all areas was on full display as they broke countless records and received numerous All-American recognition at the national tournament this season. If you haven't had a chance, please go on our website and read the last article written about the team after the national tournament this year. And you will see quote after quote from athletes and Jill that talk just about so many more highlights and what their whole program is about, way more and beyond any records that they broke and All-Americans that they had, which were like numerous, every single swimmer there and all of that. But the quotes are incredible. So you will do yourself a favor with some reading material if you go check out that article. Thanks, Jill.
Thank you, Kirsten. So 6 days after I started as head coach of the newly founded Westmont women's swim team, I met with my first recruit, and that would be Bailey Lemon. And so those 6 days prior to meeting with her, I had to come up with a good enough reason for someone to join our team when there was only one member of the team, which was me. And so I prayed that God would build our team, our first team, with women who would be leaders, who would be passionate about establishing a positive team culture, and who would be up for the challenge of starting a program from nothing. God was extremely gracious when he gave me Bailey Lemon, a warrior in every sense of the word. She's a brave fighter who never gave up. During Bailey's sophomore and junior years, she was unable to swim due to a chronic shoulder injury, but that didn't prevent her from making an impact on our team. Bailey selflessly led and supported her teammates, even from the sidelines. Each day that she couldn't be in the water with her teammates, she was on the pool deck assisting me and supporting her teammates. Her modified workouts would end, and she would stand up next to me and ask, "Do you need help getting times?" Or, "How can I help?" During that time, Bailey got to exercise her skills in leadership and leading by example. She demonstrated to her teammates what servant leadership looks like, what unconditional love looks like, and what resilient joy and hope looks like. Throughout those 2 seasons, she stayed hopeful that she would be able to finish out her swimming career on her terms with her warrior teammates by her side. Bailey's hope for that last season kept her coming to the 5 a.m. practices, even though she couldn't get in the water, and it kept her training mostly by herself to be in good enough shape to hopefully one day swim at the NAI National Championship and become an All-American, which she did. I said it multiple times throughout this season. Watching Bailey swim this last season was truly a miracle. Every time she dove in, she proved what hope and resilience can accomplish. She inspired those who watch her to really never give up. And Bailey is so much more than her accomplishments in the pool and in the classroom, which are significant. And like Kirsten said, I highly recommend reading those write-ups from Ron. He does a great job of capturing everything that our team accomplished and that Bailey did this season. She has left a lasting legacy on our program, one of grit and determination, of selfless leadership and resilient joy. And I remember after signing Bailey, I attended my first Golden Eagle as just an observer, and I remember thinking to myself, I cannot wait to talk about Bailey Lemon up there one day. It's an honor and a privilege to introduce you to Bailey Lemon.
Thank you, Jill. In November of 2018, I visited Westmont for the first time to meet with Jill. She had just been announced as the new women's swim coach, and there was no one on the team yet. But I knew immediately during our first conversation that she was the perfect coach for me. Jill cares about making great athletes and throughout the process helping us grow into better people. I couldn't turn down the vision she had for building this program and her enthusiasm to do it with me, giving me the confidence to join a team that had not yet existed. After a successful first season of establishing our team culture and competing at nationals, we discovered during my sophomore year that I needed to have shoulder surgery. 1 year of not competing eventually turned into 2, leaving me with only 1 year left to swim. During my sophomore and junior years, Jill comforted me and worked with me to figure out how I would modify my workouts and feel included in the team. When I returned to competition my senior year to compete for my final season, Jill had prepared me to make new goals and do all that I could to contribute to the team. After getting a few meets under my belt, I had the competitive spirit and passion for swimming that had hid quietly since my freshman year. Because of Jill's training and guidance, I was then able to drop time and set records at our conference meet in February and at nationals in March. So to Jill, thank you for leading me to such a rewarding comeback and sweet celebration. Thank you for believing in me and walking alongside me during both my most challenging and joyous moments. And thank you for giving me the strength to continue and have the opportunity to make history. I'll always be your first recruit. One of the practices Jill implemented for us this year was to pray together as a team. Before each of our afternoon practices, we take the time to share prayer requests and pray with one another before getting in the pool. Back in August, on the first practice of our 2022-23 season, I asked my teammates to pray that I would have the courage to push myself and that I wouldn't be scared to compete again. To all of my teammates, Gabby, who's here tonight, Morgan, Ryan, Emma, Ella, Jackie, Olivia, Diesel, Abby, Leighton, Lauren, Boost, Daisy, and Mackenzie. Thank you for consistently pushing me and encouraging me. With their love and support, it wasn't too long into our season to feel like that prayer was answered. I don't think I would have accomplished any of the goals I set for myself had I not seen their faces at the other end of the pool cheering for me. And finally, to my parents who aren't able to be here tonight, thank you for always being here for me. Thank you for rearranging your work schedules to drive me to practice and wrapping me in towels to keep me warm and giving up your weekends to come to my swim meets for 13 years. Your sacrifice never went unnoticed. Thank you for embracing me at every stage of my swim career. I could have never put into words how grateful I am that you always showed up for me. It's an incredible honor to receive the Golden Eagle Award this year, and what a lovely way to conclude my swimming career. Thank you.
Okay, before we bring our next coach up and athlete, I just want to take a moment to recognize all of the assistant coaches who are here in the room tonight. Many of our assistants are volunteers, and we have so many who add such value to our student-athlete experience. Also, I would like to recognize all the coaches' spouses who are in the room tonight. Being a coach is pretty all-consuming, and you spouses are the most important assistant coaches we have as you support us being able to do our job. So thank you for your commitment to Westmont athletics and to our students. Let's get a round of applause for our assistant coaches and spouses. Coach Alt and golf, please make your way up front. Coach Josh Alt is in his second year leading Westmont men's and women's golf programs. He has brought an analytical approach to his teams, helping them to grow as golfers from their experiences on the course. This year, his teams have placed first in 4 tournaments, and he has seen his golfers earn individual championships as well. Coach Alt, please introduce us to your Golden Eagle recipient.
I'm actually not that analytical, but my father-in-law is a great guy, and he was a healthcare analytical guy, and so he's impressed on me, and I've gotten a lot from him, and he's my assistant coach. So I have a unique relationship with him, and he's been a blessing to the women's and men's golf team. But coaching is a blessing, and I love being at Westmont. But coaching is also very tough, and you have to make difficult decisions with confidence and courage, and you have to convince yourself that that is what's best for that athlete and that team, even when it's hard. I ask a lot of my players because they play a game that is very demanding. I'm looking around waiting for all of the heads to shake. All of you that play golf know it is a very tough sport. It asks a lot. It forces deep introspective questions, self-reflection, and it pulls character out of you whether you like it or not. Golf's one of the newest sports at Westmont, and because of that, Charlotte Bloom has the distinction of being one of the first Golden Eagle Award recipient. She's a great student, and she's very competitive in the classroom. I've known Charlie to have great relationships with her professors, and she thinks of them as mentors as well. When she's not hardworking in the classroom, she's on the golf course. She has a very carefree attitude on the golf course, which is sometimes hard for me to believe, but she takes golf the right way. She knows that the most important shot is the next one in golf. In her young college career, she has already shot a 67 5-under par, which established a new single round team record. I will be handing out her business cards for private lessons as soon as the event is over. Talk to me. She's had 3 top 5 finishes, including a 3rd place just yesterday at our home event at Soul Park. And she's an excellent driver of the golf ball and putter, and when she does both of those well, I think she's one of the best players in the GSAC. I challenged the women's golf team to start a Bible study this year, and so Charlie comes by my office one day and accepts that call. She's leading a Bible study, and she's even taking girls to church with her in the Team Suburban, and it's a really beautiful thing to see. Even though I ask a lot of Charlie, it's nice to be able to depend on her, and her cool head and stability is a great addition to this team, and I know God's going to use this game of golf to really transform her from the inside out, as well as her teammates and me too. Her personality shines brightest when she's with her teammates. She brightens their day, and she cares for them very deeply. She has a sense of humility, so that I'm going to brag on her so she doesn't have to brag on herself. For I have not given you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. Welcome, Charlie Bloom.
Wow, thanks, Coach. That's really nice. Hi, I'm really happy to be here. I would like to first thank my parents for their endless support and encouragement as I've traveled to Westmont to pursue my academic and athletic goals. I really can't thank them enough, and I'm so grateful for all their sacrifices that they've made for me to be here. I also want to thank my coaches here at Westmont for the golf program they're continuing to build and their time and effort they pour into us and the program. My golf journey began at a very young age thanks to my dad. He taught me how to swing a golf club, how to hit that bump and run chip shot, and how to keep grinding on the course when things are tough. Without a doubt, I would not be the golfer I am today without my dad. Being competitive was also pretty easy because I have two sisters who like to win. And they shaped me into the competitor I am today. I played in my first tournament when I was 11 years old, and I shot 68 for 9 holes. Through my ups and downs, I've improved, and I've dreamed of playing collegiate golf. Westmont has provided me with that opportunity. Playing golf for Westmont is truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and I've been trying to savor it while I can. I realize how incredibly spoiled I am to be able to play golf at the collegiate level in Montecito, California, and I never would have imagined teeing off at Montecito Country Club or Burnham Wood or Valley Club. Yet here we are, and my game has improved significantly from playing these challenging courses, and our team has been able to reap some of the benefits of this. This last fall, the Westmont women's team won their first tournament in a playoff against Menlo College. It was a really empowering moment for our team. But I've learned a lot more than just how to play better golf since joining the Westmont golf team. God has kept me humble as he sent 3 really awesome stud freshmen to us this year. He's blessed me with an opportunity and a community of girls who love and support each other on and off the course. God has also stretched me and guided me into leadership roles I didn't expect. One of the most valuable things I've learned since coming to Westmont is the power I've found in trusting that God will equip me. Trusting that he will equip me on the golf course to hit that tough shot around the tree, and trusting that he will equip me in new situations to step out of my comfort zone has been liberating for me. Although I still have a long way to go, trusting in God has given me the security and strength to press on, even when life feels like I'm on the bogey train. I'm looking forward to the new challenges and ways God will stretch me as I continue my career at Westmont. Thank you.
All right, women's tennis. We are working our way towards the end, but just some great student athletes to hear from still. So Cade Pearson is truly a as she's walking up here, walking example of what our department aspires to. Cade was a Golden Eagle Award winner herself, not once, not twice, but 3 times as a student athlete here at Westmont. So it was a no-brainer to not let her get away when we heard that she would be interested in coaching college tennis. She has brought her work ethic and love for God and others into her role, first as an associate head coach and now as the head coach of our women's tennis program. She's been phenomenal in recruiting great new talent to our tennis program because she can speak firsthand about what the experience meant to her and how it impacted her in her life. We couldn't ask for a better role model for the young women to follow and are grateful for your leadership and impact, Cade.
Well, thank you, Kirsten. I'm very happy to be here speaking from this role now. Hopefully it goes well. Tonight, I have the honor of introducing Logan Jackson. Being a young coach comes with a few perks, one of those being that I know a few of my players from our time as teammates before I became their coach. From the time we were still just teammates in Logan's freshman year, I remember sitting at a lunch with her and having a strong feeling that she would grow into a very strong leader for our team. And in this year, as our sole team captain, she's proved that. Now, I could go on saying that Logan has proved this through a track record of academic success and athletic triumph. But in all honesty, her leadership is more profound than that. Logan is the person that she is because she's been tested. In the last year, I've lost track of all of the weird challenges that she's faced, but I'm going to try to name a few. From the usual student athlete challenges to a concussion, a weird infected bug bite that a doctor told her she could have lost her hand over, and other injuries, from multiple stouts of COVID to pneumonia and other illnesses, Logan has persevered. On the more comical side of challenges, last season there was a rumor going around that Logan and a teammate were dating. That was a really interesting conversation to have in my first year as a coach, one that we laugh about now today. And on the heavier side of challenges, there was the cancer diagnosis of a dear family member. All of which combining and contributing to probably the fiercest challenge that I've seen Logan overcome, her struggle with mental health. I like to say that Logan has truly earned her title as a warrior in the way that she fights through life. Despite the many challenges, Logan is a light on our team. With a fighting and persevering spirit, she is also joyful, caring, and she loves to laugh. She makes me and her teammates laugh more than anybody else on our team every day. She balances focus and competitive intensity with simple joyfulness. There's a saying that I use pretty often with our team. I think they're sick of hearing it. But it's that knowledge comes from experience and wisdom comes from others' knowledge. Logan shares wisdom on our team. Although sometimes out of her comfort zone, Logan chooses to be vulnerable and shares with her teammates the knowledge that she's gained from all of the struggles that she's faced. She's had a direct positive impact on the way that we speak about and address mental health on our team. In a season that has been as challenging as ours so far this year, I am so grateful that we have a captain who's been leading us through it by example. While many aspects of Logan's life have been challenged and shaken, there's one thing that's remained ever so firm, and that's her faith. In September, I had the privilege of watching her and another teammate get baptized together. It's a day and a moment that I don't think I'll ever forget. Every day since, I've watched Logan as she dutifully pursues her relationship with Christ through every high and every low. Logan, your leadership and your presence is a blessing that I thank God for every day. I'm so grateful for you and the positive influence that you've had on our team so far. I can't wait to see the ways that you continue to grow and that God continues to use you this year, next year, and in life beyond Westmont.
Hello, everyone. Firstly, I would like to congratulate the other recipients of this award and express my gratitude for all those who have worked hard to put on this event. After returning to Westmont last fall, the tennis team came together to discuss our personal goals for the semester. One of my goals was to be baptized within the year, and similarly, my teammate Kaylee also planned to be baptized. I attended her baptism a few Sundays later in support of her, and watching each of these individuals commit themselves to Christ was extremely emotional for me, in which I felt the Spirit compelling me to follow suit. I approached the pastor, whom I had never met prior to that day, and spilled all the reasons I felt unworthy to be baptized in the past, and expressed my desire to take this leap of faith now. My teammates and I joked after the occasion that this would be a great semester for me because I had already completed one of my 3 goals, but that would be the start of a very difficult year. This year has given me some of my toughest challenges yet, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Fall semester, I experienced illness after illness, keeping me from the courts for extended periods of time, barring me from the sport that had given me so much joy. Additionally, I started to experience difficulties with my mental health, which permeated every part of my life, affecting the ways I connected to people and doling the things that I used to love. I simply did not want to engage. These feelings persisted for months, but I knew that my team could benefit from my vulnerability just as much as I needed them. So I continued voicing my experiences, listening and engaging in conversation with teammates, friends, and professors. I believe that the strength of this year's team is in the authenticity of our players and openness to one another, which we've been intentional about developing even through the discomfort it can elicit. Just as I have seen growth in my teammates' lives because of our on-court practices, I too have experienced increasing trust in God despite the uncertainties in my life because of my team. It makes me so proud to experience this growth in stride with my teammates, knowing we have impacted each other and will continue to impact each other beyond our collegiate careers. I would also like to express my gratitude to my coach, Cade, my professors, especially Dr. Haynes, and my parents for all the support and encouragement I've received. The most crucial lesson they have taught me throughout the past year in leading a team is the importance of authentic engagement in the people who you surround yourself with. Most prominently, I dedicate this award to God, who has placed all these wonderful people in my life, which I see as testament of his unwavering love. Thank you.
Over 4 decades, Russell Smelly has been at this really important work, and so it's only fitting that he gets to come up here multiple times and share with us. He's going to introduce his track and field award winners, and Robert got to say a few words about Russell. But Russell, I just appreciate how deep of a thinker you are, and especially lately, just on the ways that faith and culture are intersecting and how we as coaches can continually reach our student athletes who are being influenced by changing cultural things around them, as you really help to try to aspire and inspire our student athletes to gain their knowledge and their trust in an unchanging God, despite everything that might be changing around us. And a lot of coaches that have been coaching as long as Russell are just stuck in their own ways. And I think that you've continually tried to challenge yourself to learn what our student athletes are currently dealing with and how they're approaching things. And I just really appreciate that.
Thank you, Kirsten. It's Holy Week. It's also the week that Martin Luther King was killed 55 years ago. And the social things we're encountering and in this world we're encountering, there's so much that we need to do in the name of Christ that I keep challenging our athletes to do and challenging myself to do as well. Mariah Chang is a serious, focused individual. She's an artist. She has high expectations for herself. She demands a lot of herself. So why would a rational, artistic person hold a 12-foot pole, run down a runway, stick it out in front of them, fly 10 feet forward, 10 feet up in the air, turn upside down, fall over and land on a pit? For a person who wants control in her life, this is not a smart thing to do. And she scored in the conference meet each year, but just kind of holding on to the pole and getting there with a little bit of panic overall. And then this year, she calmly transformed herself into a different kind of competitor. One early morning, she has to do workouts in the morning on her own a lot of times, and one morning I was there and I got to just visit with her a little bit, invited myself over and asked could I make observations, and she was trying so hard to vault. And my saying is, try hard, go slow, relax, and go fast. And in that time, you could see her thinking, how am I going to do this? And she was trying to figure it out. And then in one moment, she thrust the pole forward, flew behind it, and felt that moment of exhilaration and freedom of just letting it be. And it was delightful. Recently, about learning about athletes, I was talking to the seniors, and one of the things I asked them is, am I connecting with the team? Mariah says, when you say hi to me, I feel connected. So thanks for keeping the bar low for me. There's nothing better than seeing an athlete smile who's serious. And tomorrow, her senior show opens with 5 other seniors, I believe, and it has been extremely stressful. And we encountered that a couple of weeks ago when she didn't get what she wanted in the pole vault. And she trusted me enough to be with me while she worked through how hard it was to fail when she so much wanted to succeed. But she's gone from just scoring a conference to thinking, I can qualify for nationals. I can soar to new heights. And I hope any of you who are around will just go see what beautiful things she has expressed with her art at the art show tomorrow. Mariah, thank you for being you.
Hi everyone. I want to thank Coach Brett and Coach Derek for supporting me in my growth this year. It's been a significant year of growth and couldn't have done it without you guys. In addition, I'd like to also thank Coach Smelly for 4 years of teachings and support. Coach Smelly is also where this story starts. The first time I walked on the track my freshman year, Coach Smelly had the freshmen line up, introduce ourselves, and say what was our event. This was the chance that everyone got to see our faces and welcome us to the team. This is the first start of formations of lifelong friends. This is my opportunity to get better at pole vault, the event I love. At the end of freshman year, I was considering quitting the track team. I began considering this decision when I was sitting at home because this was when COVID was happening. Honestly, feeling no desire to do the workout, other than not getting fat. And I felt guilty for not doing my part on the team to get better. When I was able to vault on the team, they would put the bar at the lowest spot. I'd get to my starting spot on the runway, run as fast as I could towards the pit, and jump without touching the bar. I traveled right under it. Because you see, the standards on the side of the pits that held the bar, they didn't even go as low as my personal best. I felt foolish for being able to practice alongside these people who were qualifying for meets and jumping over bars in the double digits. Should I be allowed to keep coming to practice if I can't even jump over the lowest bar? Well, obviously I stuck around. In actuality, I was probably the only person asking this question. In my freshman year, I met Emily Parks, who was a senior on the team. She was one of the first people to treat me as if I was on the team. Like Coach Smelly said, I set a low bar, so her simple greeting was enough for me to feel included. In my sophomore year, I still sucked, but because COVID forced us to stay in our little groups, I got close to all the rest of the vaulters and the jumpers. And that was one of the best gifts I could ever ask for. One Saturday of some break, my coach gave us a workout to do, and I walked down to the track and realized everyone wasn't on campus or had other plans. I guess I'll do the workout on my own then, I sighed. Then I saw Tori Davis, a long jumper, sauntering over to where I was working out. She always walked around with a stoic, put-together demeanor that made it intimidating to talk to. Turns out she had realized I was the only one doing the workout this morning and decided to keep me company. This led to us realizing that we were impressively similar. For example, we were both crybabies in our youth, and at some point we said, no, we're not going to cry anymore, and not a single tear had left our eyes a couple years after that. Kind of weird. But her taking the time to keep me company and listen to me talk about myself was more than I would have ever expected someone I barely knew to do for me. I didn't know Emily and Tori other than through brief interactions on the track. I'd also grown up with the idea that strangers should be avoided because I don't know how they'll be if I interact with them. It could be dangerous, is what I was always told. It wasn't natural for me to initiate interactions with them. But Emily and Tori had equated me showing up to practice every day as being someone they could be friendly with. They taught me that I could be a part of the team just by showing up. Emily and Tori are only 2 examples of the many team members that made me feel seen on this team. The camaraderie assured me that I didn't show up to practice 4 times a week just to vault. I'm also there to form friendships and community. And guess what? I don't suck at vaulting anymore. Thank you.
Ryan Hooten is also a vaulter and pretty serious guy. He's in the orchestra, he plays the viola. So he goes from vaulting to viola. And I say, and the orchestra is actually the model I use for our team and what I try to live up to, because they come together with all these talented people. They practice in their different groups, and they come together and play their pieces. And a track and field team, we're at all different places in the team. We come together and we form together to have a track and field team at a competition. And so Ryan has been a person who has been excelling in that. And the biggest difference between the orchestra and us, they can't make any mistakes, and we do. But Ryan is a serious person, and when he came to Westmont, he kind of had this magical first year. Things were going really well, looking at nationals. And then sophomore and junior year were just about misery. Things went really, really hard. And so I started telling Ryan, one day I told Ryan, okay, smile once a day. And he says, Coach, I am smiling. And I thought, he doesn't get this concept. But he kept showing up and kept working, but he was so hard on himself. It was difficult to watch how hard he was working and how much he expected and how it was getting in his own way. But I wish you could have been there at the end of spring break at Point Loma when he went over his personal best height. All that energy there, and I was on the other side of the fence, couldn't be in there, and it was just this pumped up, just hand thrusting, screaming, emotional renting and releasing, for finally, after 3.5 years of trying to do better, he made that goal. And it was just fun to watch. And then last week, he made a new personal best, and it wasn't quite the same, so much reaction, because now he knew, I can do this. And he's thinking about nationals. And so he's a musician, he's a serious student, he's a serious athlete, and I think he might smile when he comes up to the podium.
For the record, I occasionally smile. It might not be a real one, but if you do see me genuinely smile, it's probably a rare sight. I fell 14 feet into the box my senior year of high school, 2 days before state, and broke my butt pretty badly. After beating the odds of only vaulting for about 9 months prior to starting that senior year, I was shocked to find myself in a position to even compete at that level. I didn't find myself worthy to be at that position. I was like, I only vault 12.6. All these other guys are jumping 15 feet. And all of a sudden, I hurt myself after putting all that pressure on myself to do better. And I thought, well, I guess that's it. I'm not going to be able to do this in college. There's no chance the school is going to take any shot on me. And then Coach Smelly gave me that chance. He let me, a walk-on, join that team. And I looked at the other 2 vaulters in the squad, Seth and Cam, who were jumping 3, 4, 5 feet above my height, and I was like, what am I doing here? I remember the pain from that fall my senior year, and nothing was more painful than the actual emotional realization that I might not be able to vault again. And the relief I got from getting accepted to Westmont and getting another shot at vaulting with the Westmont track team was just immense. So I thank Coach very much for giving me that shot and taking a chance on me. it was definitely the best decision I ever made, walking onto the team. Prior to applying to colleges, I'd never heard of Westmont, and all of a sudden it's on my radar. And then within 6 months, I had accepted and decided that this is the place I want to be. And I definitely believe that God had sent me to this place just so I could learn so much about what it means to be a follower, a student, and an athlete. And again, I can't thank Coach enough for giving me that opportunity. Pole vault's my passion. It's a weird sport. You fling yourself in the air over a stick using a stick. I don't think anyone here does anything quite like what we do 2-3 times a week on the runway. But you guys should give it a chance. Give it a shot. When I was younger, I made the error of believing that I was a league above everyone else, and I was quickly humbled when I first entered high school, realizing that 4'11" me was not faster than all the other seasoned individuals on the track team. All the other people in my classes were much smarter than me, and I was like, oh, I'm kind of stupid. And while I don't necessarily believe that anymore, I do realize what it means to be reflective and humble. And it really just is a testament to how much Coach Smelly has taught us as a team here at Westmont what it means to be both athletes and students. He teaches us to be God-following individuals and to be dedicated to our craft, but also to be caring, loving individuals. And I think the way he introduces that fact to us is just an immensely valuable lesson that I definitely wouldn't have learned anywhere else had I chosen to go there. Today I received much joy watching the success of my teammates, and I really wish a lot more of them could be here today just so they could share this wonderful experience with me. But as we continue to finish out this season, I really look forward to continuing to see them do personal bests and make qualifying marks for nationals as we push through the last half of our season. And I think to the point, I finally realized, as Coach put it, I'm beginning to relax a little bit more. I'm not so concerned about being tense on every single jump, and I'm going to have fun doing what I originally loved doing. And I think that's what this season has really taught me. I do hold myself to a high standard to whatever I commit, whether it's academics, music, or work. And this often causes me to put unnecessary levels of stress on myself. Perhaps it was just growing up with the expectation that I needed to succeed, or perhaps it was just being surrounded by people who I consider to be much higher achievers than myself. Regardless of what it was, I'm very thankful to Coach and my teammates for showing me that it's okay to just be myself and relax around them and just put in the work that I need to do in order to continue to go forward. I would like to share a couple lessons that I've learned in my last 4 years now. Almost said 3. 4 years being at Westmont. Number one, I've learned that no matter what you can do, there's a limit to what you can do by yourself. Being part of the team and part of the orchestra, I realized that being an individual, regardless of what it is, there's only so far you can do. And I think this applies to both real life applications and spiritual applications. There's only so much you can do by yourself before you realize you've hit your limit. And at that point, that's where you need to rely on the support of your coaches, your friends, family, and your teammates, and God. So that's definitely something I've been learning over the last few months in particular. The second thing is I'd like to share about being able to relish in your own success. For a very long time, I've always pushed my achievements below myself and felt that it was unnecessary to celebrate in the moment. I think a testament to my change of mindset with this was definitely at Pomona, like Coach was talking about, where I was able to actually celebrate and be vocal about my achievements and PRs, and I hope to continue to do that for the rest of the season. You tend to have a little bit more fun when you're relaxed, and they do say when you're relaxed, you're fast, in which case I'm probably the slowest individual out there. And then one final thing, learn to smile more and enjoy the moment. I find this to be perhaps my biggest struggle sometimes. It's not quite as easy for me to just be happy and enjoy the moment and smile more. And I hope to do that a little bit more from now on. Being here tonight is definitely something that's given me quite a bit of joy, and I thank you all for being here and be able to share in this wonderful moment with both me and all the other athletes that are in this room. Finally, I'd like to thank my coaches, obviously Coach Smelly, for being a wonderful support to me over the years, for his grace and willingness to give me a chance here at Westmont. He didn't have to do that for a walk-on, but he treats all of us on the team like his own family, and I cannot appreciate it more. Coach Masterson, who's here for his first year, he stepped into some big shoes to fill with the leaving of Coach Tom and Coach Priester. He's really taught me what it means to be a good human. He's a constant reminder to bring joy and love to the track, and I think I speak for everyone on the track team when I say that we all want to run for him. We all want to jump for him, and I can't thank him enough for the support and kindness he's shown all of us. And Coach Gina, Coach Brett, stepping in for the first year, for his first year as a vault coach after Coach Thomas moved on to other endeavors. I want to thank him for being a good friend and a good support, as he has had to deal with one of the most internally stressed individuals he's ever probably met. He's been a great support to me over the last year, and I look forward to continue to finish out this season with him. The lessons I've learned over the last 4 years will stick with me forever, and I cannot thank everyone, all my teachers and my friends here at Westmont for the time that they've given me and the support. Thank you very much.
I think Kirsten was ready to introduce herself. It's truly an honor and a privilege to introduce someone that I look up to and respect most in this profession. Kirsten has introduced me for the last 13 years at this event, and tonight I get the chance to introduce her. Coach Kirsten Moore just finished her 18th year as head coach of the Westmont women's basketball program. She's widely regarded as a role model for coaching and for the development of student athletes into women of strength and character. This past year, the Warriors participated in their 13th NAI National Championship tournament in a row, and the 16th during her tenure. She doesn't just lead young women, she loves them, invests in them, and calls them to be devoted to excelling in every aspect of life, while, to use one of her favorite terms, loving well. Just last weekend, Coach Moore was honored at the Women's Basketball Coaches Association convention by the Fellowship of Christian Athletes with the 2023 FCA K. Yao Heart of a Coach Award. Yes. The award is presented to a basketball coach who has exemplified biblical principles over the course of his or her career. I can't think of a better award to represent this coach and this leader in our department, Kirsten Moore.
Yeah, I've just not introduced myself all these years, so I was just ready to get on up here and introduce our award recipient for women's basketball. Last but certainly not least on the agenda tonight, I get to introduce you to Sydney Brown. It's actually fitting that this incredible young woman would go last, because perhaps the best definition I have of Sydney's time as a Warrior is that of a servant. Sid came into Westmont as part of a big freshman class with just a few upperclassmen to learn from. She made an impact on the court right away, becoming a starter in just her first season. But her heart's posture to be a sponge and learn the Warrior way from the upperclassmen and the coaches put her in a position to become the consummate servant leader the rest of her career. She'll graduate this year as the only four-year captain in the history of our program, and so much of the credit for our success is because of the ways that Sid kept our team focused on the daily little things that combine to create the culture of unity, excellence, gratitude, and love that have become synonymous with Westmont women's basketball. Sid's journey as a warrior was far from easy, but her choice to maintain hope and gratitude in the midst of the challenges truly put her in a position where God could work good out of even the hardest parts. When playing was taken away from her by a torn ACL, God grew her ability to lead with her voice. When COVID took away our chance to compete in the national tournament when we were entering ranked number 1 for the first time ever, God used her disciplined work ethic and communication to keep our team improving remotely so that we were prepared for our next opportunity. And when COVID necessitated us isolating as a team to try to complete our 2021 season, she hosted a months-long team sleepover in her dorm room so that we could make it to the national championship without exposure, and ultimately we went on to win the 2021 national championship. Then, when faced with the choice to graduate last year or stay for a 5th year with her added eligibility, Sid chose to stay. Not primarily to have another chance to win a national championship, although we were striving for that too, but because she was deeply passionate about passing on the warrior way to a new generation of warriors who were about to enter our program. Sid's intentionality in passing on that legacy is even evident tonight, as her choice for her 2 guests tonight are 2 of her younger teammates. Sid, you are in good company with your humility. Paul challenges us in Philippians chapter 2 to imitate Christ's humility. Therefore, if you have any encouragement from being united with Christ, if any comfort from his love, if any common sharing in the Spirit, if any tenderness and compassion, then make my joy complete by being like-minded, having the same love, being one in spirit and of one mind. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourselves, not looking to your own interests, but to each of you to the interests of others. Sid, your impact is going to last long after your time in a warrior uniform, as hard as it was for you to take it off that last time. Because of your humble commitment to serve, and this coach of yours is just one of the many people who are inspired because of the way you've modeled Christ to us.
Dang, Coach, you're making me cry. She's one incredible woman, everyone, and I have been blessed with her mentorship these last 5 years, and I'm coming to the realization I won't be around your greatness for much longer. So thank you for all that you've done for me. But yeah, I am humbled and honored to receive this award because my team is filled with incredibly smart and hardworking women, and they've pushed me every day on the court to be the best that I can be, and I would not be in the running for this award if they didn't push me in the classroom as well. So thank you to 2 of them and the rest that are up at Westmont right now. But in thinking up a small speech to give, my coach encouraged me to share a story or a favorite memory, and I think obviously my favorite memory would be going to fight for a national title in 2021 with my teammates, but I think it's been the community at Westmont that's impacted me the most. A buzzword that I've heard continuously during my time at Westmont, and a couple times tonight, is this word community. And it's a bit funny coming in as a freshman, just seeing how nice everyone was. Just like so sweet, like candy, it's funny. And there's this one little social unspoken rule that when you pass by someone, you have to acknowledge your presence, even if like you've never had a conversation with them before. Just a simple smile or a head nod. But if you know the person a little more, it's encouraged to like engage in some social conversation, or if you're in a hurry, say, hey, what's up? Or how's your day? Long time no see. And I think that just goes to show how unique and distinct Westmont's culture is, because it's not like that in the real world. People aren't nice like that. So A couple ways this community stepped up for me was very prevalent in my injury year when I tore my ACL. Coach was talking about it a little bit, but I tore my ACL and I had surgery in the middle of midterms week, which was really tough. But I had some incredible professors who came alongside me, worked with me to make it a little bit easier. And one of these professors is Dr. Gurney over there. I so happened to have an exam and a presentation due that week leading up to and afterwards of my surgery. And she insisted that I take my test a week later so that I could take it with a clear mind and with just separation from the emotions that occur after surgery. So I'm really grateful for that. But I had a group presentation that I couldn't push off because I was with a group. And she so graciously allowed me to sit during my presentation because it would have been quite painful to stand for 20 minutes on my bad leg with like crutches up my armpit. So thank you for that, Dr. Gurney. Another moment of genuine care came from Dr. Richter. I had the privilege to take Old Testament with her in that same semester. And one of my doctor's appointments ran a little late, so I was crutching into class, and crutches aren't that quiet. I wasn't able to stealthily sneak in the back. No, it was loud. Everyone was turning around, and it was quite funny. She stopped the lecture, sprinted over, and pushed a chair, pushed the piano bench over so I could have my leg rested up. She put my crutches against the wall and just made sure that I was comfortable before she continued the lecture. And while that was pretty awkward, I didn't like all the tension on me at that point. I will never forget how loved I felt in that moment because this professor, who is known in the religious studies world, took her time to make sure me, her student, was comfortable before she began the lecture again. So that was just very standoutish for me. There have been so many other instances where my academic and athletic community surrounded me during my hardest moments. And I don't think I would have experienced the same genuine care at any other university or their faculty and staff. Westmont has deeply cared for me throughout these 5 years, and that's why I chose to come back a 5th year. I am most grateful God brought me to Westmont because the people here are unique. My coaches being my mentors, my teammates, my lovely friends that they are, my professors, my wonderful adoptees who have loved me these last 5 years, and everyone a part of the athletic family that makes sure that the student athletes here are pushed to growth and pushed towards excellence. As I step into wherever God leads me next, I hope I can bring this same sense of community into this next community I enter to after I graduate. I hope that I can share this same love and light of Christ that Westmont has shared with me. So thank you, my Westmont community, for leaving a mark on my life that will carry with me and carry me through wherever God opens his next door. So thank you.
All right. Well, what an incredible group of women and men that we have had the opportunity to hear from today. And really, we've just gotten to hear a small piece of what the Westmont experience is like for our student athletes. And it is not lost on me that there's a group of people that have been maybe thanked individually by our awardees, but I want to take time to recognize the role that parents and families have played in these young women and men's lives. I like to say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, so the excellence that you're seeing here, so much has been invested in them prior to coming here, but then also families, you have entrusted them to our care. And as a parent of a daughter who's growing up way too fast and is almost 11, which means she's more than halfway off to college, I recognize that that is a big step of trust to entrust us with them. And so we thank you for the trust you've placed in us, and we hope that we have served them well. And would parents and families at this time, grandparents that we have over here, please stand so we can just honor and recognize you as well. before I bring up our president who's going to close out the night for us, I have just a few announcements. You all have these awesome name tags. You can unclip them right now and just stick them in the center of the table so that we can collect those. The parking tickets that you got when you came in, a lot of times they make us get little redemptions on them or whatever, but this year they're just gonna leave the arms up so we don't have to worry about it. So you guys are free to leave the parking lot. Two more things. One is the centerpieces. You can play Rochambeau, rock, paper, scissors at your table, or however you want to do it. Whoever's birthday is closest to today, take home the centerpiece with you, please, and enjoy them. And then lastly, as soon as President Beebe finishes out up here, we need all of the coaches with their award winners and President Beebe and the Giordanos to please come up so that we can take pictures. And then I've also noticed again, that there are still a number of awards up here that we did not actually get handed over to the students. So come up, we'll take our pictures before we all depart for the evening. But Dr. Beebe, as you come up, I just want to say how grateful I am for the leadership you provide to our department. As a student athlete himself, he really deeply is understanding and believes in what the student athlete experience does in the lives of our student athletes and how it develops our students and just does life-changing work. So thanks for your support from the top. It wouldn't happen without it, and we're grateful.
Kirsten, thank you so much, and thank you for this wonderful celebration. Pete and Gerd, what an amazing night. Thank you for doing it 29 years. Believe it or not, Pam and I are in our 16th year, so we've been to 16 of the 29, and it's wonderful to get to celebrate. It literally is one of my favorite things of all of the events I have to go to every year, because it celebrates so many parts of life that are so deeply meaningful. Learning to come together with a team, what it means to submit to the authority of somebody else, excelling to the best of your ability, finding what you can do that you never thought was possible, but also accepting limitations. This last summer, my son Ricky and I traveled back to my hometown, Eugene, Oregon, to see the track and field world championships. And among the many experiences, we were there for the second half of the competition. We got to see Mondo go 20 feet, 6.5 inches. Got to see Allison Felix run. Just saw some amazing athletes in competition. But the third day that we were entering Hayward Field, off to the side stood this gentleman who was clearly old. But he looked so familiar. And I kept looking at him and I thought, God, that looks just like Billy Mills. So I went over and I said, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but is there any chance you're Billy Mills? And sure enough, it was. Now, Billy Mills won the gold medal in the 1964 Tokyo Olympics. Came out of nowhere. He actually was born and raised on the Lakota Native American reservation. Went to Kansas University. And it was so fun to see that reach of time back at the World Championships. What I love about athletics is it's not just during the time that you were a competitive athlete, it literally is the way that it shapes your life for the rest of your life. And so many of the great lessons that I learned about success, about leadership, are a result of having been a competitive student athlete and really having to sublimate your own ego to achieve goals that are of team interest, not just personal interest. So I want to thank our coaches. I want to thank Robert Ruiz. I want to thank Dave Odell for building an absolute phenomenal program that year in and year out produces student athletes for whom we're greatly proud. Thank you for doing it. If you'd stand now, I'd like to close our time in prayer and we'll go into our evening. Gracious Lord and God, thank you for the amazing joy that comes from being a competitive athlete. It's truly the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. It's one of the most significant ways in which we learn the extent of human achievement, the way in which we can strive for so many goals and achieve so many things we never dreamed possible, but also along the way, make friendships that last a lifetime. Thank you for the ministry, the purpose, the intentionality that goes into Westmont athletics. Thank you for each of these coaches that pour their lives into the lives of their student athletes. Thank you for these athletes. Thank you for the administrators that oversee the programs. Dave Odell for so many years, now Robert taking over the helm. And Lord, as a college community, thank you for the opportunity to stop and to celebrate. May this night linger in our mind and our memory. Christ, I pray. Amen. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.